Steve here from RCO. Today I'm going to be going over the final video in this winemaking tutorial, and it's going to be filtering and bottling. I'm going to show you what equipment is required and how to do it. So let's get going. As you can see, I'm getting ready to filter here. I have my carboy of wine sitting on top of my drip tray, as well as my filter. The filter I use is the Buon Vino mini jet wine filter. I use it for filtering wine and filtering beer. It works really well. It's run for about 180-200 bucks Canadian. I would recommend it to you. It works very well. The filter pads I use with it are the #1 filter pads, coarse filtration. I use the #1 pads for wine and beer alike. What they're going to do is get rid of all your large bits of sediment, and it's going to polish it quite nicely. You can actually go up a level to the next filter, I believe #2, which is really going to polish your wine. You wouldn't need it so much for your beer, but these filter pads are going to bring your wine or beer very clear, zero sediment, no floaties, nothing inside your wine. It's going to look very well. So your filter pads you place in between your plastic slots here. So you put one here, one here, and one here. And then everything's going to slide tight, and you're going to tighten up your threaded handles and press down on your filters. You're going to hook up your hoses, run everything down to a bucket, and I'll show you that setup in a moment. Prior to doing that, you're going to want to soak your filter pads in water just to get rid of any loose debris from manufacturing and to slightly get rid of any cardboard taste. So I'm all set up to filter now. I'll show you my setup and I'll explain everything as I go. As you can see, I have my carboy in place. Cane goes down into the carboy. Hose coming off the cane runs to this fitting on this side of the motor. The motor's going to draw the wine in. It's going to come through this hose here, go into the bottom end of the filter banks. As you can see, the 3 filters in place, everything tightened down. So the wine's going to feed through the 3 filter banks. It's going to come back through the top and feed down into the bucket. Now the second hose I have taped to the supply hose goes to the drip tray on the bottom of the filter itself. So all that's going to do is eventually your filters are going to start bleeding off a bit, and it's going to drip down into that tray, and it's going to run down the hose and into your bucket. It's all good because it's all filtered wine. So just started my filter. As you can see, drawing from the carboy, comes down through the line. The motor's drawing it in and pushing it through the filter banks. You can see it's being forced through the filter banks. Like I mentioned, some of it will bleed through. Coming down out of the hose, and nice filtered wine down in your bucket. So this process takes about, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. So I'll get back to you when this finishes up. Now that the filtering process is complete, I'm going to clean up my gear and then we'll get to bottling. So what I like to do to keep my filter nice and clean is I'll fill up a pitcher with hot water. I'll put my dirty carboy on the floor, run the hoses into that. I'll hold my cane in my pitcher full of hot water, and I'll turn the filter on. And what that'll do is draw all the hot water through the motor assembly and everything in the unit itself. Force it through the pads to clean those out. Not that you're going to reuse them, but easier disposal. And then it'll run that all into your dirty carboy and flush out your filter, and I'll show you that now. So as I mentioned, here's my pitcher full of hot water. I've removed my cane from my carboy, placed my dirty carboy with my sediment on the floor, ran the hoses that I had filtering into my clean bucket into that carboy. Now I'm just going to switch on the filter, a little switch on the back here, switch that on, put my cane inside the hot water. That's going to push through the filter. You're going to see it's going to be a lot of foam coming through first, a bit of wine, and it's going to get clearer and clearer and clearer. Now that's an indication that your filters are getting cleaner. by now you can check down here, and the water entering the motor and coming out of the motor is perfectly clear. So you know that motor's getting flushed out nicely. And it's all just going into your dirty carboy on the floor. So I have my 30 bottles on the floor in my tray ready to go. I have my filtered wine on the countertop in the bucket. To fill my bottles, I'm going to use my extended cane. This is going to go inside the bucket. It's attached to a hose. On the other end, I have a pinch valve here that can be used for emergency situations. If something gets out of control, wine spraying everywhere, give it a pinch, it's going to cut off the flow of wine. On the bottom end, I have my check valve. This is used for filling your bottles. So when it's held upright and your siphon is started, the weight of the wine is going to hold your valve down and prevent the flow of wine into your bottle. When you press it on the bottom of your bottle, you're going to lift the valve and allow the weight of the wine to come around it and fill your bottle. So we're going to get started with filling the bottles right now. So I'm going to start my siphon now with my mouth and begin filling the bottles. I flipped 3 bottles around so you can see the line to fill it to. So what I like to do is you get your bottle filling. This way you'll be able to see the level come up. I wait till the wine reaches the very top of the bottle and quickly lift. And what that's going to do is leave you the perfect amount of room to put in your cork and finish off your bottle. Give a little tap to get any drips. Move on to the next bottle. "30 bottles are all filled up. Time to move on to corking the bottles." This is the floor model corker that I have. You have your handle on top, your pin there that forces the cork inside the neck of the bottle. You place your cork in here, and when you lower the handle, it's going to compress the cork and force it into the neck of the bottle. Also, the base works off of the spring for different sized bottles. So you can stick any size bottle in there and get the corking done. So now that all your bottles are corked, your next step would be to apply your labels and your heat shrinks. Your labels are as easy as centering them on the bottle and sticking them in place. They're very durable and they're going to stay there for many washes. Mine have been on there for, I'd have to say, a couple years at least. Your heat shrinks, they can be applied with a heat gun, most hair dryers, or you can do it in boiling water. So there's different techniques. You can find a video on that, I'm sure. I usually only use heat shrinks if I'm going to be giving a bottle away, or if I have guests coming over, just to create the appearance, make it look a little nicer. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. on how to make the Argentina Ridge Cabernet Sauvignon, available at Costco. It's cheap, like I said, it's about $1 a bottle. The quality is really good if you do it right. If you follow my videos, your wine will turn out very well. So here's cheers to that. If you like it, like it. If you have any suggestions, there's the comments down below. And absolutely subscribe. There's beer videos to come, white wine videos to come. We got some Island Mist kits as well as some Rieslings. So cheers to that.